Absolutely.
Why not, right? All righty, friends, if we're ready, I think we're gonna call this meeting to order at 2:05 PM. Ms. Martin, can we please have the roll call?
Chairman John Paul Rea,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Bert again.
Present.
Ms. Sheila Cote is excused absence. Dr. Curtis Ivory is excused absence. Mr. Royce Manico.
Here.
Ms. Diana McBroom.
Here.
Mr. Assad Turfi.
Present.
Thank you, kindly, Ms. Martin. The chair would entertain an adoption of the agenda.
Also move, Mr.
Been
Chairman.
moved
Second.
and seconded. Any additions, deletions, alterations? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, may we please have the certification of public notice, Ms. Martin?
Smart will hold the Board of Directors meeting on Thursday, April 24th, 2025 at 2:00 PM on the sixth floor of the Build Building located at 535 Griswold Street, Suite 600, Detroit, Michigan. The agenda can be found on Smart's website. Members of the public may attend in person. The meeting will be live streamed on YouTube and available at the link on the website. Members of the public may also submit written comment to be read during the public comment period by emailing us by 1:15 on the day of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. If we could turn up the audio, apparently they're having a little trouble hearing in the back, be greatly appreciated on that end. Next, we're gonna approve, 2 packs of minutes. The first is for the board meeting minutes from the March the 27th board meeting.
So moved.
Been moved,
Second.
been supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, motion passes. Next, we will seek a special board meeting policy committee meeting minutes for April the 17th, 2025.
Recommendation for motion.
Been moved,
Second.
been supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Excellent. Next, we're going to take a minute to discuss a couple of the special board policy committee reports from that April the 17th meeting. Ms. Cote is the committee chair. Her not being here today as ex officio, I'd be more than happy to give an overview and provide the board with a little bit of insight of some things that the administration has done in between now and then. The biggest one, which we have heard not only from the public, but of advocating on behalf of the board, is the recommendation to allow for hybrid, virtual and in-person public participation. At the special committee meeting, there was a number of elements that were discussed by the board to ensure that we can scale this up and allow for these forums to be back in place. Ultimately, a number of those structured provisions will ensure that first and foremost, we will have the highest degree of accessibility for individuals to access those digital forums, so they will be able to address smart business in front of the board in a manner that provides accessibility to all, as that is one of the key elements that we've heard from members of the public. The other thing that we want to do is ensure that there is structure, there is order, and that there is fairness for individuals to access these forums, which we will not only have dedicated time frame, which we've discussed, is obviously plays for those individuals addressing the board in person, with 3 minutes for each speaker individually. We will also request that individuals provide a name and a county of residence. And then the other thing is that we would ask too that individuals have the ability to provide that information, the topics that they want to discuss. And again, as we do here, the board chair, along with the individuals that help shepherd the meeting from the administrative team, will have the ability to shut down comment that goes outside of bounds or in any way, shape, or form is not in order. As that is always under the discretion of the chair and would be under the bylaws of the board and the committee on that end. In discussions that we have had with administration currently right now, as IT staff is transitioning this over, and again, as we want to make sure that we have those elements of security and accessibility, it is our call as our benchmark, and it is our expectation and promise to the public that this will be fully operational at our May board meeting.
Yes. Say.
not every day that mid-level bureaucrats get around. to applause. I very much appreciate that and would like to put that on the record that they applauded after something I said.
You might
Yeah.
be mid-level.
Yeah. So again, to not only all of the advocates that have given us their time, effort, and energy in this room, to the multitude of individuals that have reached out to us personally as board members, to the administrative team that has sought to find a solution that is agreeable to all parties and individuals, we hear you. This is not something that we take lightly. This is not something that falls on deaf ears, and this is undoubtedly something as we continue to aspire to meet the mobility needs of the 5 million individuals that are around this region. Sometimes solutions take a little bit longer than those would hope or expect. But again, we are very much hopeful to activating this in May and having individuals have a voice in this conversation continued again. Ms. Martin, anything else on that topic, whether it is from legal or administration? Oh,
No.
excuse me, Ms. Gunter, sorry. Sorry, I was looking at
No, you
too
covered,
many Tiffany's, no.
no, you covered it, but I do want to emphasize that for those that choose to do public comment online, they will have to provide a way in which we can contact them to follow up on the comments that are made. But just to emphasize that point.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ms. Gunter. That was another thing specifically from previous elements, what is the mechanism in which the individual feels most comfortable via email or providing a direct phone number. That is one of the things with follow-up that we always feel is a critical component of those individuals that are here that have that accessibility to staff on that side. Again, we don't want that to be a barrier, don't want it to seem as if there's going to be any retribution on these items, but is one of those things that ensures there's that continuous feedback loop on that side too. Any comments from members of the board on said item?
No, just a thank you.
Excellent. Appreciate all the advocacy and insight from members of the board on that side. As we discussed too in the special committee meeting, what we are hoping to also do is to activate the authorization to amend the Smart Board of Directors policy number 1. This was the conversation that we had, was to allow the authority to enter into other state or intergovernmental agreements for the procurement or use of common or shared goods and services, provided that, and where applicable, all general conditions of board policy, procurement policy, legal standing, federal regulations, and solicitations are met. So these are a lot of fancy bureaucratic words to highlight the fact that sometimes the state or some of our other regional partners in mobility might be getting tires, fare boxes, any other multitude of things that we would provide. And what this ultimately does is gives us the ability to modernize our procurement practices on that side. The committee discussed a number of elements, not only with regards to ensure that we were following all the procurement standards from our federal agencies and ensure that we're continuing, as Assad highlighted too, is the expansion and illustrating the solicitation to not only local businesses, but also those individuals that are doing business with us now too. We want to make sure that we're casting as wide and broad a net for the multitude of transactions that we facilitate as an agency and as a board. And most importantly, we want to make sure that we have the most effective and efficient systems in place that not only meet the highest standards of our procurement department, our finance department, and also from legal. So I know this was one of the elements where we did have some conversations with regards to the contract limits. Obviously, that was another thing that was discussed candidly to meet those elements on that side. But Ms. Gunter, I know that you and legal counsel had reviewed this too. Any thoughts from you before we ask for an action from the board on this?
You have covered it completely.
Okay.
No addition.
Laura, anything on your end from legal that I may have screwed up or bro? Nope. Okay. So,
This does not change the limits that we have. So anything that is $25,000 or more, even if we use this method, will still have to come to the board. So the board would be aware of whatever process that we use to make that purchase.
appreciate that, Mr. Farrell. I will open up for discussion for the board, and if the board sees fit, I would very much appreciate a motion for the authorization to amend Smart Board of Directors Policy 1.
So moved.
Been moved,
I'll support it, Mr. Chairman.
been supported. Any discussion?
Just one item, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
on
Mr.
the second page of the handout that we have. There was a provision there on executive collective bargaining agreements, referring to policy number 15, and I was just curious what that was.
It's a cross-reference because of the limitations that are identified in policy. The board, policy 1 limits the amount that we can enter into.
Right.
Policy
So
15
in
expands
the-
that for collective bargaining.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
That's satisfying. The question.
Any further questions, Mr. Manico?
No.
Nope. Okay. There's a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let the record show I did not screw this up, so another good thing I did today. There you go. While we understand that we will not have digital public comment today, we do want to open up for public comment. So for those individuals here in the room looking to address the board, as always, we thank you for your time and please come on down.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My name is Lucas. My name is Lucas Lasecki from Farmington Hills, Oakland County with Transportation Riders United. I'd like to thank you all for your approval of virtual public comment and for listening to us about the importance of this means of public outreach. And I'm very glad to hear that you've got plans to make that happen soon, because it is definitely a needed step, and we really do appreciate you taking it, as well as introducing the sign language interpretation. That is also a great step toward improving accessibility. And Mr. Ray, I especially appreciate what you had to say about SMART's commitment to making sure that services and public outreach are accessible. So thank you, Mr. Chair, and everyone here for your action on this subject today. And I think the other policy changes that were discussed in the committee are generally positive. I do have concerns that one of them could unfairly limit the number of public comments on certain issues, but I'd be happy to discuss that with you at a later date. And on that subject, I think it is good to have a means of following up with people too, so that people who have real issues that need to be addressed can engage in dialogue with SMART staff and try and get those resolved. I mean, that's not going to work for everyone. You're always going to get the loudmouths who come up here and say that you're corrupt and that sort of thing, but for those of us who really do have concerns and want to voice them with you, it is a positive step, and I'm excited about this new provision about interlocal agreements too, because it seems like it has the potential to really help SMART improve their services, and anything that does that is good in my book. So thank you for your time, and have a good May. Sorry, losing track of my dates.
Thanks, Lucas. Always good to see you.
How you doing? It's Anthony Williams from Southfield, Michigan. Right on 9 Mile. My biggest concern is y'all took the 400 line and the 405 don't stop to the other side of 10 Mile. And I'm vision impaired. I can't run over there. Would it be nice if the 9 Mile go down 9 Mile and turn at Evergreen? Because there's no stops on the service drive anyway. When they did the construction, they took them all up. It's kind of hard looking at the back of the bus when you're trying to catch it. And number two, I'm glad y'all hiring all these new workers. But one thing is missing. Instead of just hiring them, y'all give them contracts. Maybe they'll have them longer. Instead of having them hiring for 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, so when they get their CDL, they gone. Give them a contract. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, good afternoon. So at home, 313-444-9114, 313-444-9114, 313-444-9114. That number was made so you can remember it. I want to thank you all for approving virtual public comment. I told Jamie Jr., who came in the scooter the last time, she couldn't make it this time, but she was excited. She said it makes things more accessible. For me, I had to pay $20 just to park down here, and for her, getting her scooter off of the or whatever vehicle she's taking, there's not a lot of spaces to off let the scooter or ramp. I mean, just all kind of issues. And this really does help. Maybe a lot of people will use it, some won't, but the possibility just to be accessible is important. And so in my prayer time and whatever, I was thinking about a couple things. So the DDOT provides me with input flyers, and I laminate some, put them in libraries, senior buildings, stuff like that. But I was thinking the smart board meeting and the smart sounding board, if those could be advertised on DDOT, social media, and advertised on RTA social media, and then vice versa. So the DDOT input meetings be publicized on smart social media as well as RTA. And so it's like all interchangeable, and the possibility of getting new voices, that's the goal, is to get new voices to come to the meeting. So I don't know if they could be interchangeable on different social media platforms. So smarts on DDOT and DDOT's on smarts and on RTA as well. I don't want to overstep my bounds, but that's what I was thinking. Also, DDOT's putting in, I think, 50 shelters. Lucas, how many shelters DDOT putting in, you know? About 100, and it needs a whole lot more than that. Do y'all got old shelters, like shelters that are in good condition, or they all run down? I was curious if, oh, you need some more yourselves, yeah, all right. But there's a great need for smart shelters and DDOT shelters. I go out, if you don't know, and I give out hand warmers, gloves, and bus tickets at the bus stops. And so people talk to me, they let me know I'm in the suburbs, I'm in the city, as a taxi cab, and I do outreach in that vehicle. I do reach a lot of people, and people feel like they're comfortable with me, and they just fill my ears up with all the problems, issues of transit in general.
Thank you, Brother Cunningham.
All right, thank you for your time. You guys have a good and safe weekend. And now pray for us. We're going to Pittsburgh. We have like a little training going to, so pray for travel and mercies. I pray for y'all too.
Hello there, everyone. Good afternoon. And I am here to go ahead and share my concerns with the Smart
Could you
Bus
please state your
Administration
name
here.
and county,
And
please?
so,
Could you please state your name and county?
oh, it's Carrie Hyatt. And so,
What county?
one of my concerns are, which happens quite frequently, unfortunately, that I'm waiting at the bus stop, waiting for the bus to come, and the bus doesn't come. So then I'm calling customer service, and the person would say, well, you know, we didn't have a driver for that route. And I thought, well, then why not just post it on your website so that riders will know I could take an earlier bus, or as a last resort to maybe ask, you know, a neighbor or a friend to, you know, take me to my appointment. I mean, I prefer not to do that to inconvenience them, but it does happen quite often, and it leaves me stranded, and then I have to wait till the next bus comes, which, you know, many times, I mean, my appointment is missed, or if they'll still allow me to come. That's one of my issues. The other one, I had last Saturday, this was on the Telegraph bus heading westbound, and the bus number was 3744. And the female bus driver there, she was not in the curb lane, and she was driving very, very fast. And I'm waving her down, you know, flagging her down. And so finally she did stop, and she passed the bus stop and me. And the thing is, and I was ready to get on the bus and tell her, you know, you should be in the curb lane, and you went very fast. And once she saw I had a bag of empty bottles and to, you know, take them to the store to cash them in, but she refused to let me on the bus. And I've never had that happen before. I meant that I couldn't go ahead and get on the bus with the bag of bottle returns. And I've done it before. I've seen many other people, homeless people, get on the bus with their bags of bottles. And so she still refused. This was at 6:35 p.m. So she claimed that she got on the phone, and I thought, doesn't normally the Smart Bus office closes at 4 o'clock? But I could be wrong. So she talked to dispatcher, and so she claimed that dispatcher said, no, you cannot get on. Well, if that's the case, then there should be a notice saying that, no, you cannot get on the bus with bottle returns. I mean, I did not think that that was right. So, and this was in Taylor, Michigan. I live in Westland. So the thing is, it took me a very long time to get home. Very long time. I reported it on Monday to a Mr. Antonio, and he took my complaint, gave me a number, but the thing is, I still haven't heard from anybody. There is never any follow-up with any of my complaints.
Thank you, Ms.
Which-
Hyde.
I don't think that that is right.
Thank you.
I mean, can I say more?
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
I can?
No, your time is up.
Oh,
There's
my time.
3 minutes. Sorry about that. Hey, Robert.
Good afternoon, Robert Plowski from Southgate, Wayne County. Today, I'd like to address item 7A on the Special Board Policy Committee regarding virtual public comment. And I don't want to take too much in terms of a speech because a lot of our advocates here in the room have said their piece on it. But I would like to truly appreciate this board for taking in consideration all of the factors of accessibility and transparency when doing virtual public comment. I used to attend virtual public comment when I couldn't make meetings, and it definitely shows that it's a lot more easier than coming down and paying $20 to park, specifically $26.25 if you look at my app right next door. It's not accessible when you have to come down and pay to park every time for a meeting. And I hope that with this new change in board policy, we can continue to make it more accessible for folks to attend meetings, but most of all, build off of it and hopefully make our Smart Advisory Council meetings the same way virtually. As one of the at-large members for Wayne County, I notice a lot of people that come in person to speak at our meetings, but there's a lot of people that can't make them. We do have the exception for our members, but members of the public do not have that option. So it's not just the board meetings, it's all of our committee meetings that Smart hosts. I hope that with this policy change that we can continue to improve accessibility for folks and also improve the transparency, because as of last meeting, it's not every day that you have people coming to Smart Board meetings saying that the board and the staff is corrupt. There's a lot of people that come to these meetings, express support and give great gratitude, which I'm actually going to give wonderful gratitude to Ms. McBroom and Mr. Turfy for all of their work and transparency and listening to our concerns when on these committees, especially when it comes to virtual public comment. And whole the cooperation of the board and staff has been very amazing to see, be able to bring this change back that has been needed and talked about for the longest time. And especially you, Ms. Gunther, I truly appreciate all the amazing work you've done listening to us and being able to get this change onto the board for consideration. Again, thank you. We appreciate it. And we definitely look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Hello, can I be heard, please?
Please.
Yes, hi, my name is D'Amico Williams. I am a private citizen. I am also a disability advocate, and I work on a lot of things concerning with our disability community. First of all, I want to praise this board and thank you very much for considering the virtual public comment option. We've been coming here for a few months, requesting that this option be accessible for the Smart Bus meetings as well as all the committee meetings. I also do not think you all are corrupt, and that is a disgrace. And it's also very disrespectful for those to say when they can't get their way or they want attention. I want to say that you all should be upheld for your decisions, for your courageous commitment to the citizens and the customers and patrons of this service that really would like to have their voice heard. This is all what we want. We want more voices to be accessible. Many people can't get here by parking, by the bus. Also, when you come down, you know, you're greeted by a security guard that's not too welcoming. For those that are disabled, and I represent a lot of people that are disabled, that could have the Zoom feature on their phone. And some of them, you may not get a lot of them because some of them don't want to deal with technology, but at least they want the option so that when someone shows them, maybe their grandkids or someone, they can show them the option to get on and they can be heard. And that will consider more of the decision of where we want to go. please consider this, please vote for this, and please adopt this, hopefully by May. And also put this on your website, so that it can be, accessible to people. As I look on your board, agenda, if the link was accessible with the hyperlink, and I'm sure your IT, God bless your IT team. They are wonderful, if they can make this happen. And I do agree with the adopted resolutions and the rules that people should state their county name. We need to know what county you're from, because it's very important that we can connect with them in these areas and improve based off their feedback. It's so important. Also, I want to say it's my birthday. This is the best birthday present I can have. This is what democracy and advocacy looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you ever forget it. Those that are watching me on camera, just know that your voice matters here. You need to be here. But also, if they do import this virtual option for you to get on Zoom and to make your voice heard, you need to come on here correct. Come with your issue. Don't be long-winded. Tell us what's going on. And also be open for them to help you. Put your name and number in the chat so that they can contact you, they can reach you, and that they can get to you whenever they get a chance. I think this is all about what we want, efficient service. And the festivals are getting ready to start. The Movement Festival, the Grand Prix, we need accessible transportation because I don't want to see people getting caught up with drunk driving. We have too much traffic in downtown
Thank you,
Detroit.
Mr. Williams.
And hopefully you all
Thank
have
you.
a great, great summer.
Thanks, D'Amico. We'll see you around. Afternoon, Mr. Rayner.
Good afternoon, Mike Rayner, Macomb County. Wow, that's tough to follow. That was awesome. I
Is
loved
it your
it. I
birthday,
loved
Mr. Rayner?
it.
You just want to throw it out there?
I loved it. I loved it. Okay, my two ongoing priorities are the terrible condition of the bus stops and the number of routes we need to get our riders better jobs. So I'm going to continue to pound on those. But thanks to Corey, the Adopt a Stop is underway, and here's the main tool we need right here. Think about trying to pick up old hamburgers. That Bobby Brown. Am I still on? I don't want you to say. Here,
We got you now.
deduct that time from me. Okay. I mean, add it, I mean. So anyway, the Adopt a Stop. Corey, what an awesome start this man, young man is doing. We need these really, please give me a hand, give me a hand. All right. All right, listen, we need to have clean bus stops. Wow, how is this so complicated? I really don't get it. You see people standing outside of the shelters. Why? Because the inside is dirty. We don't have power washers to use. Until recent, and you know, and we have, when I signed up, I'm not sure where we're at now. I know we're moving up. I was only number 11 that adopted a stop. What do we got, 300 plus? And I've asked you before, and I'm going to ask, have any of you really like jumped on the bus and stopped at a shelter and looked around, you know, and threw up like it would be easy to do? This is disgusting. Come on, folks. These are bus riders. They're going to work. You know, really, I'm surprised that we don't recognize the importance of having clean bus stops. But Corey's going to help us make that happen because the Boy Scouts, you know, fraternities, sororities, high schools, there are a lot of sources of interested people that will join the Adopt a Stop and clean these things up. The other thing, we're making progress on getting more routes where the jobs are, where the better jobs are. 71% of our riders are going to and from work. Let's get some better jobs for them. Come on, if we can do that. I mean, again, you know, Hall Road, I don't get it. That's the craziest one ever. And I don't care if it wasn't built for it. We have 8 lanes of traffic. Surely we can manage somehow. Okay. Well, we'll skip that part. Please, you know, this is about our riders. All the other things are important. You know, our drivers, that was important. We solved that. The buses seem to be pretty clean. I don't read them all the time. I ride them all the time. I'm sorry.
But please, let's think about the riders. This is all about getting people from point A to point B. Let's make sure a woman with her child is able to sit on the bench instead of sitting on a piece of pizza or something that spilled their drink on there.
Thank you, Mr. Rayner.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Rayner. Appreciate it.
Stop. Pass the word. Come on.
Any other members of the public seeking to address the board today?
Good afternoon, members of the board. I want to my name is Stephen Hammondtree. I'm from East Point in Macomb County, and I want to formally thank you for committing to restoring public comment with the I am not good when
You're
I
right.
don't have the words in front of me.
You're good to go.
For committing to restoring virtual public comment. That's the words. On the way here, the fast bus I took had to be restarted 3 times between 10 Mile and 8 Mile just to make it as far as 8 Mile before the driver decided it couldn't go any further safely. He got us at least to a major transfer point, so I made the 6th and I still made it here. But the time I found out that his bus would not be continuing was 1:16 p.m., right after the deadline for emailed public comment. So it's going to be nice to have the virtual option for when things like that happen on the way here that you can't plan for, because why would you? Why would you know that the bus is going to break down? What did you do? So that is all. I have matters I will probably be discussing privately with Smart staff after the meeting, of course. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stephen. Any other one present looking to address the board? Seeing none, Ms. Martin, any correspondence for the board this month?
No, Chairman Raya.
Thank you very much, Ms. Martin. Seeing no other members looking to address the board and no correspondence to the board, I will close public comment. Next, we will move on to the chairman's report, and there will be a general eye roll from everyone present and listening online, as I do want to speak about a couple things, and I always sincerely apologize when this happens. One of the things that we've been discussing internally with the administrative team is the whole notion of some of the conversations about route reliability. As Dwight, Tiffany, and all the leadership folks have not only scaled up exceptionally with regards to drivers and the ability for us to get more buses out on the roads and everything, we realize that there's an opportunity here also to refine a number of the digital and notification tools that we have as we're continuing to optimize our IT staff and the resources that we're investing there. We hear the public when you come in here and with regards to some of those disruptions. And again, what we're going to start doing is not only looking at some of those options, but more importantly, make sure that we as a board provide the necessary resources out there so we can have the highest and best information out there to all users across the system. And I know those sounds like a bunch of flowery words from someone that works for the government, but again, we hear you and we think this is something that very much we can begin to deploy some more impactful resources in that arena. The other thing that I know that there's been a lot of conversation that has kind of started off with our friends over in Oakland County and has migrated over to the east side is the whole notion of modernizing some of the approaches with regards to our community providers. As we've been making some generational investments in micro mobility and some more dynamic mobility solutions, ensuring that all of our community providers have those modern protocols, programs, and resources in place. We've been having some conversations of what this looks like to not only make more commitments to those providers, that whether it be with existing programs that are currently in place, but more importantly, looking at ways in which we can modernize our commitment through some of the grants that we share with our regional providers. But I think more importantly, too, figuring out creative ways in which we can share some of those responsibilities as we're expanding flex zones and looking at other elements as far as their smarter mobility plans. So again, while nothing formal from the board at this time, but as we're preparing elements of our fiscal year budget upcoming, this undoubtedly will be one of the topic of conversations, and we know it is a major priority for a number of our communities, and just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. The other thing is just a shout out from my end with regards to the staff this morning. Had the opportunity to attend the wheelchair restraint training that was held at Macomb Community College, and just meeting a number of those volunteers and drivers that are a part of that, not only from Smart Proper, but from the community providers, from the city of Detroit all the way out to Auburn Hills and going even to the Lake Shore. It was really great to see how that community provider program continues to expand. And when you saw the fleet of buses that were in the parking lot there, it's great to see how wonderful it is on that end. And definitely want to applaud, Danny, Amy, Jim, all the folks that were there, giving us an opportunity on that front too. The other thing that I know that we've discussed openly too with the advocacy community is the continued conversation with regards to transportation funding and what, if any, impacts that's going to have specifically on mobility options and transit funding, whether it's local bus operator dollars or even the general allocations that come to local communities to invest in mobility solutions. This is something that myself, Assad, and a number of our counterparts across the region are actively engaged in advocating for more dollars on so many different fronts, as we know that the need is emergent and critical on all fronts on that side. So as always, we're always here to get yelled at for potholes, but I think more importantly, we're here to find out where the dollars can be activated to actually lead to, tangible change in the way that individuals access not only the existing road network that we have across Southeast Michigan, but as SMART wants to be that exemplary provider for individuals across the region and provide those connections. I think it's a mission critical element of what these solutions will start looking like over the next 6 to 9 months and how we can be involved in those conversations. So I've meandered and rambled for too much. I will cede my time and hand it over to Mr. Farrell for the general manager's report. Dwight, what's happening?
Well, one, I'd like to introduce a new staff member. Our new acting vice president of IT is Cassandra Whitfield. Cassandra has some years in the IT space. And one of the things that is consistent about Cassandra, along with other members of the team, Cassandra is from Detroit. Born and raised, spent a lot of time in Atlanta, worked at the city of Atlanta. I worked with her for some period of time at MARTA. And she has great experience in all of the things that we need to do to take our IT department the rest of the way. So I'd like for you all to welcome Cassandra.
Cassandra, welcome to the family.
And the last thing I'm going to talk about is a favorite topic of all, tow trucks. This is not about the towing contract, this is about tow trucks. So with the board's, consistent with the board's action, we're about to exercise a piggyback off of a Jacksonville Transportation Authority contract to buy 3 tow trucks. Our expectation is those tow trucks will be here and be in service by the end of the year. They're already built. It's just a matter of going through the procurement process. Those are already funded through the capital program. And we would expect to have people trained and what have you. And whatever contract that we would have at whatever point would become a contingency contract at that point. So I just want to keep the board up to date on where we were.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Appreciate that. Any questions for Mr. Farrell? Seeing none, we will move over to the board briefings and jump into the HR hiring update. Deanna, how are we doing this month?
Hello, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I am Tiana Leapart, and I am here to do the hiring update for March 1st through March 31st. During the month of March, we hired 10 fixed route operators, 10 paratransit operators, 1 mechanic, for a total of 21 hires for the month of. Our budgeted positions for bus operators is 426. Out of the 426, we have 425 filled, leaving 1 open position. This coming Monday, we are slated to have 10 new hires start on Monday, so we should have that filled.
Wow.
In addition to that, the budgeted positions for paratransit is 142. Out of the 142 budgeted positions, we do have 140 filled, leaving 2 open, but effective This month in April 14th, we actually hired 5, so we are technically full, but we will still continue to hire against attrition. For mechanics, we have 85 budgeted positions, 69 is filled, leaving 16 open to date, and we will increase hiring for the maintenance department, specifically mechanics. I am available if you have any questions.
Tiana, well done. That's not a bad report.
Thank you.
And appreciate the thoughtfulness, obviously, on the mechanics across all segments, whether it's, even our Department of Roads or, even from those local DPWs. We know that this is an area of immense need in so many different arenas, but clearly we've made some investments that whether it's in our collective bargaining agreements or obviously a tremendous amount of the capabilities of our Human Resources Division and through the efforts of the leadership team, I think folks know that, we're a reputable employer and there's opportunities here. So,
Yes.
Any other comments for Tiana? Seeing none,
Thank-
Chair would entertain a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to some new business. We're gonna go to 12A, a resolution for authorization to award a contract for propane auto gas.
Also move, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved. Can I get support? Support. What's happening?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Smarts Board of Directors. It's a recommendation that the board adopts the attached resolution authorizing the award of a contract for propane auto gas for paratransit fleet to Webster and Gardner. This is a 1-year contract starting June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. The amount not to exceed $900,000 for the year. The Smart Paratransit fleet consists of propane fuel cutaway vehicles and needs liquefied propane gas to operate. It is estimated that Smart consumes approximately 750,000 gallons of propane annually. Due to the market volatility, the contract is bid annually. Any questions?
We've got, Mr. Manico.
As I look at this, we've saved a lot of money over the years by going to propane. And do I read this right? It's about $1.20 per gallon on the propane.
Yes.
And what are we paying for diesel right now? Okay. So there's a big difference when we made that decision
Yeah.
to go to propane, much like some other communities here in Michigan. But I commend the staff. This has been a tremendous savings to our budget, particularly for fuel costs, and the way that the whole fuel industry is right now. It seems to be up and down. I try to follow it every month, but it's certainly kudos to the staff for bringing this to us.
Thank you, Mr. Manico. Got a motion and a second on the table. Seeing no further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, thanks, Ms. Burt, appreciate it. Next, we're going to move on to 12B, a resolution for authorization toward a contract for payroll and human resource information system services.
Hello.
Tiana, how we doing?
Fine. It is the recommendation that the board adopts the attached resolution authorizing a contract for payroll services and human resource information systems with ADP. This is for 3 years, beginning May 1st through 2025 through April 30th, 2025, plus 2 1-year option renewals in the amount not to exceed $937,000 for the 3 years, plus 2 1-year renewal options in the amount not to exceed $1,555,120, I'm sorry, for 5 years total. This will include, since 2019, ADP has provided the need of the services for us for equipment, electronic payroll, time and attendance, vacation and accrual balances, benefits, recruiting, labor relations services, employee records, new hire onboarding, and a secure web-based access for smart personnel. I am available if you have any questions.
Tiana, thank you so much. And just to be clear, they are the incumbent contractor,
Yes.
correct? Excellent. Any comments, questions, concerns from members of the board? Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Been moved,
I'll support it,
been
Mr. Chairman.
supported. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we will move on to 12C, an amendment for the authorization of the contract amendment number 3 to increase funding for automated dispatching and scheduling software system.
Good afternoon.
Brownlee, how we doing?
Well, and yourself.
No complaints.
Greetings. Smart chairperson, board members, general manager, deputy general manager, and staff. Thanks for allowing me to present this recommendation to the board for a contract amendment to the existing Trapeze software. This software upgrade will cost $100,670, which will be paid for using capital funds, which will address the authority's current business needs as it relates to automation of self-service for employees, their ability to select daily work from workstations or a web-based device, the ability to request vacation or personal leave time from a workstation or a web-based device. It will also configure new pay codes for Earned Sick Time Act, as it is now a requirement from the state of Michigan. Automated rotation of our AM, PM 7-day extra board for our Teamsters and ATU work groups, and automation of volunteer work. All software upgrades will benefit the authority by introducing new technology for bus operators and supervisors who are scheduling work manually and will cut down on errors. I am available for questions.
So it's just a amendment not to exceed 111,670, and then the aggregate total will not exceed the 2.135.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other comments from members of the board? Seeing none, chair would entertain a motion.
So moved,
Been
Mr. Chairman.
moved,
Second.
been supported. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we're gonna move on to 12D, amendment for the authorization to approve a contract amendment. Amendment. Yeah, I'm writing it the right way. Number 1, to increase funding for general planning consultant services. Harmony, how are we doing today?
Good, how are you? Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staff is recommending board approval of the resolution authorizing a contract amendment with HNTB for general consulting services related to myriad current and future projects SMART is conducting. SMART contracted with HNTB in 2023 to provide on-call general consulting services. Some projects that have been completed or are underway include the bus stop design manual, an economic impact study, procurement and implementation support for a transit app, and project management services for the installation of new transit infrastructure. These projects have or will expend the current contract. The proposed amendment is necessary to conduct future projects, including the bus stop inventory and condition assessment, traffic flow analysis for the Oakland County Terminal, and additional planning activities in Wayne and Macomb counties. The proposed contract amendment would increase the funding for an amount not to exceed $2 million. The total 3-year base cost will not exceed $3.7 million, bringing the total not to exceed amount for the 5-year contract to $4,833,333.34. Happy to take questions.
Harmony, thanks so much for the update on this and obviously a tremendous amount of continued work with our partnership with HNTB. Pleased to see the continued work on the bus stop inventory and the conditions analysis. And then obviously with the planning services, as we are going to continue to explore those conversations with Wayne County and the future millage requests that they're looking at doing. In our end, very much pleased to see the continued conversations about smart mobility and what some of those route modifications look like. Any questions from members of the board? Mr. Manico.
On item number 3, it says economic and revenue analysis, which is in progress. Is that like 3 to 5 years for looking at revenue and having a kind of a capital improvements program on that?
This is for anything as it relates to revenue. So, capital, long-term, based on the current funding model, and what are other funding models that could be deployed to help us in the from a sustainable funding point of view. So there's a lot of research and effort involved in that. And so in order for us to be able to make the best case that we can about any kind of change in our funding model, we need this information. There is one more thing as well. There's a shift that has been going on, and it's really going on more so now about the impact of transit beyond just ridership. The impact that transit has on a region's GDP. And that has not been quantified here. And so we do want to be able to do that. So what I'm asking the board and the public to take into consideration, while we don't get the money back directly in the fare box, any impact that we have on growing people into the region increases the revenue that therefore comes to SMART or any other transit system. And so what we're also looking at is how other people do it, how the cities do it, how the states do it, how the regions do it in terms of funding and the economic impact. And so that's all part of what this is.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Any other?
I do have one more thing to say.
Sure. That's two things then.
Well, it's
Sorry.
actually three. There are lots of things that people have talked about being able to do here. And I've heard lots of barriers as to why not. I can tell you that the things I've heard that people wanted to do here, they've been done someplace else. There are lots of ways to be able to deliver rail projects, BRT projects, that are not bleeding edge. I mean, these are tried and true. And so part of what we also want to be able to do is show this board visually about how some of these deployments can look within our service area. So that's what all part of it. This is what all of this is part of.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. All righty. Any other comments from members of the board? Seeing none, chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Been moved,
Second.
been supported. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Harmony. Appreciate it. Any other business to discuss for the board? Ms.
I
Rezegi.
guess I would say, and I know JP and I assume the other board members know, this is my last meeting. I'm retiring from my job at the county in mid-May, so I'll have a replacement coming from the county. I can't believe it's been 6 years, 6 years. I can't remember if how it happened, if Hillary asked me, more likely she told me, saw me in the hallway and said, hey, you're gonna be on the SMART board with me. But I do want to thank the staff. You have been very supportive over the years. I know a lot of emails, a lot of questions, asking a lot of questions multiple times, and you were always patient. I appreciate that. And I want to thank the public for continuing to hold their feet to the fire. Some change happened today, and I think that's great. It's a good sign for the future as well. And Dwight and Tiffany, thank you. It's a different organization than it was in 2019. So I appreciate it.
Brett, thanks so much for your service to the board, and you're not allowed to retire. So
Congratulations.
if there's no other business, the chair always entertains a motion to adjourn. Been moved?
Second.
Been supported? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? See you all next month.